Sarah. In today's video, we are going to automate the deployment process of the React app using Ansible. So before the deployment part, we are going to create cloud resources on AWS using Terraform. We are going to create VPC, security groups, and EC2 instances. So let's switch to the VS Code editor. So here we can see we have two folders. This is our React application. We'll discuss about this later. Here we have Terraform files. This is the keys folder. In this I have generated two keys using SSH-keygen. This is my private key and this is my public key. We are going to upload this public key to the AWS cloud, and we are going to use AWS-key to connect our EC2 instance from our local machine. And these are the Terraform files that we are using. Here, this is the main.tf file. In this file, we have different kinds of resources that is going to create on AWS cloud. We are going to upload the public key while we are creating EC2 instance. We are using the default VPC. And this is the security groups part. To allow SSH and HTTP connection, we are going to open the 22 port for SSH connection and 84 HTTP connection. And if we go down here, in this section, we are going to create two EC2 instances, one as control node and one as application node. This is our AMI ID. And here we can see we have t2.micro as my instance type. And it getting the key name, subnet ID and VPC ID that we have discussed on top while creating EC2 instances. And here we can see I have used user data. This user data allows you to do some operations while creating EC2 instance so that we have the things ready while we are logging to EC2 instance. Here we can see this is a script that I am going to use this user data. It is going to install software properties and it is going to install repository of Ansible, and finally it is going to install Ansible. So while our instances are up and running, we can see Ansible installed in our control node. Here we can see we have used key name as control node so that we can tell this user data to install only on control node. Now coming to the output.tf file. So these are the outputs that we are going to fetch while EC2 instances are up and running. We're going to fetch the public IPs of both the instance as well as instance IDs as well. And finally, coming to the provider.tf file, we have provided the latest version of the AWS provider. We have provided the latest version under the required provider section of AWS. We have also provided the AWS region. It is South 1. Now let's test our application whether it is working fine or not from our local machine. So I'm in my crypto app folder. So these are the files and folders that we have under this crypto application folder. Let's install modules. Here you can see we got the node modules folder. Let's clear the screen. Now start the application. Here we can see our application is up and running. Click on coin search. Here this is the React based application. Till now we have tested our application, it is working fine. Till now we have understand about the Terraform files and what are the resources that we are going to create on cloud. And we have tested our application from our local, it is working fine. So before going to create cloud infrastructure using Terraform, I recommend you to go to my previous video that I have created on how to install and set up Terraform. And I have provisioned some resources on AWS Cloud. I also recommend you to go through my Ansible video that I have created. In that video, I have explained what is Ansible and how it is used. I have created 3 instances manually, one as control node and 2 as worker nodes. I have generated SSH keys. I have connected my worker nodes from my control node using SSH connection. And I have explained about multiple ad hoc commands, how to check the system performance, how to deal with service management, and how to create files and how to access and how to manage permissions for the files and directories, and how to use Ansible playbooks to run multiple tasks on target machines. So once you go through that videos, you will be having clear understanding how we are automating the deployment process using Ansible. Once you cover those videos, you will be having clear understanding about how to use Ansible and how we are automating the deployment process of application using Ansible playbook. Let's create cloud infrastructure. Now go to Terraform folder. This command is used to check the format of the Terraform files. We use Terraform init command to initialize the backend and required provided plugins. For this 6.28.0 version, as we have provided in the provided.tf file, it started installing process. Based on our internet speed, it is going to complete this process. Here we can see Terraform has been successfully initialized. Let's clear the screen. We use Terraform validate command to check whether our configuration is valid or not. Here we can see configuration is valid and success. We use Terraform plan command to check the resources that it is going to create on cloud. Here we can see we have 4 resources to add, 0 to change and 0 to destroy. Now we can see here, this is the resource 1, which is going to create app node. And this is the resource 2 for the control node EC2 server. Here we can see we have instance type as t2.micro and few other details. And here we have user data, which is going to install Ansible and its properties and software. This is the key pair section, which is resource 3. And here we can see we have security group section as resource 4. It is going to open 22 for SSH and 80 for HTTP connection. These are the 4 resources that it is going to create. And here we can see get this output details. Once our instances got created, we'll get instance IDs and public IPs of both the instance control node and application node. Now provide Terraform applied to create cloud resources. Now before providing S, you can see here currently we are in AP South 1 region and currently we don't have any resources that are running. Now provide yes over here to create cloud resources. So we can see here it started creating key pair, security groups and EC2 instances. Now we can see here 2 instances that are running. Here we can see we got the output details. Here we can see apply complete resources 4 added, 0 changed and 0 destroyed. And these are the details of the instances, application node and control node. These are the instance IDs and these are the public IPs of the instances. Now let's connect to the control node. Copy the public IP. Go to git bash. Copy this public IP. Now we have connected to our control node. And this is our control node private IP. It is ending with 10-204. And here we can see 10.204 private IP for our control node. Now let's check the Ansible version. Here we can see Ansible core version as 2.19.5. So let's create a directory over here. We have created an Ansible directory. Let's clear our screen. I'm going to change my instance name as control node. Let's exit from the instance and connect again. Now here we can see we have changed our instance name as control node. Go to Ansible folder. Now let's create an inventory file over here. Click on I to go to insert mode. Provide group name. Here we have to provide application node private IP. Let's copy the private IP of the application node. Paste it over here. Click on escape :WQ to save. Now here we have created a group called deployment. Under that deployment, we have provided private IP of the application node so that control node is going to deploy our application in this application node using Ansible playbook. So now let's go and connect our application node. Copy this public IP. Open new git bash. Now we are in our application node. Let's clear the screen. I'm going to rename this server name as application code. Let's exit from the server and connect back again. Here we can see we changed our application node as well. Now here we have to generate some SSH keys to connect application node from our control node. Now go to .ssh folder. So these are the keys that we have generated just now using SSH-keygen. Now if you can see here, this is our public key content. Now we have to copy this key and paste it over authorized key file inside our application node server. Go to insert mode. Make sure you are not missing any of the letter while copying and pasting. Escape :WQ. So now we have added our public key content inside the application node server. Let's test our connection. So now here we can see we have logged into application node from our control node. Let's exit from the application node. So now we are again in our control node. So now we have to create Ansible playbook to deploy our application inside the application node server. So now let's create an Ansible playbook file. Go to insert mode. Here this is the Ansible deployment playbook that I am going to use to deploy my React application on application node server. I'll explain what this playbook does. Here we can see name as deploy React application on app node server. Coming to the hosts part, we have created deployment group. Under this deployment group, we have provided this application node private IP. And here we have provided the sudo access has become yes. Coming to the tasks section, we have multiple tasks under that. First task is going to update the cache using apt package model. And then coming to the next task, it is going to install required packages like Node.js, npm, Nginx. Like here we have provided list of items. And coming to the state, these packages should be present after the installation part. Coming to the next task, it is going to remove the default Nginx files which is there inside this directory, Nginx default directory. Here we can see state as absent. And coming to the next task, it is going to clone React app repository from the GitHub URL. Here we have to provide our GitHub URL. Here this is my React crypto app repository. Now go to code and copy the HTTPS URL. Provide it over here. After that, it is going to keep this React crypto app deployment files inside this location as destination location. We have provided var/ww/react app. And then it is going to install necessary npm dependencies. Coming to the next task, it is going to build the React app folder by running npm run build as command. After building, it is going to change this directory and it is going to copy the build folder to the Nginx directory. Here we can see remote source as S. This is a source folder and it is going to copy to this destination folder as var/ww/html folder. And then it is going to restart Nginx service again. So this is the process that it is going to follow to deploy our React crypto app to the application node server. Click on escape:/wq to save and exit. Before running Ansible playbook, we can check the connection between control node and application node using this addoc command. So why we are getting this warning means where we can see could not match supplied host pattern. Now here we have to create Ansible configuration file as well. Here this is the configuration file and these are the default details. It will tell Ansible where our inventory file is presented. Our inventory file is presented in this current location and we are going to use the remote user as Ubuntu, and we have provided host key checking as false. Now check the connection again using this command. Now here we can see it is success. We got the pong as response. So this is the private IP that we got response from this private IP. So now let's run the Ansible playbook. So in this process of deployment React application on application node, I have faced a few issues regarding application side as well as on the Nginx file side. I have checked the logs and resolved those issues. Now if you can check here using this public IP, Here we can see we are able to see the React application that is deployed on application server using Ansible playbook from the control node. So this is how we can automate deployment process using Ansible playbook. So this is all about this demo. We have created cloud resources using Terraform, and we have set up two nodes, one as control node and one as application node. And we have automated the deployment process of React application using Ansible playbook. I'm going to share the application code as well as Ansible deployment code in my GitHub repository, and you can use that files as well. So this is about this demo. Thanks for watching.